Hey everyone, JAYSTEPHER here today with a tutorial on a pine tree that looks realistic. Before we start the pine tree, we need a base plate. Let's use a 16 by 16 stud base plate. You can use any size. Start off with a 2x2 round brick. Place it on the base plate. This is going to be the trunk of the pine tree. Now take a 1x2 plate with vertical stub and a 1x2 plate with vertical fork. Place these two in like so. Tip it up one notch and place it on the 2x2 round brick. Let's make 4 of these assemblies. These are going to be the branches for the pine tree. Next, take 2 studs, place one on top of the other, place it on the stud close to the center, like so. Let's make 3 more assemblies and place them on each branch. Now take 2 5x6 leaf assemblies. Let's place these 2 studs together like so. For a leaf assembly, place the leaf assembly right next to the studs. The leaf elements can be any color you choose. Let's make 3 more. Different color leaf elements gives the pine tree added character. Now place a 2x2 round brick right in the center of our plates to lock everything together. And finally, 4 1x2 plates. Place them on the stud to lock everything together. That's why you need the 1x2 plate to lock the leaf elements, because they do tend to come off fairly easily. There's the first level of the pine tree. Now let's start off with the second level with a 2x2 round plate. Now let's take a 1x2 plate with vertical stub and a 1x2 plate with a vertical fork. Place these 2 together like so. The vertical stub is slightly different than the previous level. It doesn't matter which style you use. I ran out of the other ones, so these will have to do. Place it on the left side of the 2x2 round plate. Let's place another plate assembly on the other side. Now, take a 2x2 round brick, place it right in the middle of the plates to lock everything together. Now, let's place a stud on each one of these branches that are on the lower level. So place these studs closest to the 2x2 round brick. For the other two sides, take two studs, place them on top of one another, and place them like so. Take two more 5x6 leaf elements, place them on the lower plates. And for the remaining two, take two more 5x6 leaf elements, lock these two studs together, set them on the branch like so. Now to lock all the leaf elements together, take four 1x2 plates. Place them on top like so. We are sandwiching the leaf elements between the plates. Take your time with this process. It does pay off in the long run. And there we have the second level. Let's place the second level right on top of the first. Line everything up. Press down firm. Now let's begin the third level. Let's start off the third level with a 2x2 round plate. Now let's take a friction assembly, place it on the right hand side of the 2x2 round plate, followed by another friction assembly on the left. A third assembly on the top, and our last assembly on the bottom. Now take a 2x2 round brick, place it right on top of our assembly to lock everything together. Now place 4 studs on the 1x2 friction assembly. We have a 1 stud on the outside, our last stud. Now let's take a 5x6 leaf element, place it on the branch like so. Let's take another leaf element, place it on the other side. Let's take 2 more leaf elements, place one on the top in this direction, and one on the remaining side. Now to lock everything together, let's use 4 1x2 plates. There's the third level. Before we can attach the third level, let's make a note of the branches. See how the branch is lower on the left versus on the right. Let's continue that pattern. This branch is obviously lower than this branch. Let's place that in the same direction like so. The branches are evenly spaced. Let's build the fourth row. First, let's start with a 2x2 round plate. Next, take a friction assembly, set it on the left-hand side of the plate, like so. Place another friction assembly on the right. I ran out of dark gray, so I am migrating to black stubs. You can use any color you wish. Let's place the third assembly on the bottom and the last assembly on the top. Now, place a 2x2 round brick on top of the assembly to lock it all together. Let's note the friction assembly. Take a stud, place it on the second level, like so. Place another stud on the other side. And on the two remaining sides, take two studs, place one on top of another, and set it on like so. Let's repeat the process on the other side. Next, take two 5x6 leaf elements, place them on the assembly with the one stud. Take two 1x2 plates, place them on top of the leaf elements and the studs to lock everything together. Next, take two 3x4 leaf elements, place one on top of the other like so. Place it on the remaining branches. Here's the second leaf assembly. Finally, take two more 1x2 plates to lock the remaining leaf elements together. Now let's set the fourth level on the pine tree. Note that this is the lower branch and this is the higher branch. So let's line up our branches accordingly. There we go. It's looking more like a pine tree. Let's assemble the fifth row. Let's take another 2x2 round plate and four more friction assemblies. Let's place this one on the upper left. Place one on the right. Let's place this one on the top and one on the bottom. Now use two 3x4 leaf elements. place one on this side of the branch and one on the outer side of the branch, like so. Let's repeat the process 3 more times. They don't have to be on perfect. And the remaining 2 leaf elements. Put on the leaf elements does tend to get a bit tricky. Now, take 4 1x2 plates, place them on top of the leaf elements to snug up the branches. These will prevent the elements from falling off. There's the 5th row. On the left we have our lower branches, and on the right we have our higher branches. So let's line up our assembly and place it on top. It's looking pretty good. Now let's start the 6th row. First, let's take another 2x2 round brick and 4 friction assemblies. Let's place this guy on the left. Let's place this one at the top. This. Now, take 4 studs, place them on the inside of the branches like so. Use 4 3x4 leaf elements. Let's place them on the branches like so. And finally, 4 1x2 plates. I choose green to give the tree a full look. Now let's set this on top of the tree. Let's put the 6th row on the pine tree. So on the left we got our lower branch, and the right we have our higher branches. Let's line it up and set it right on top. There we go. Let's add the 7th row. Finally, let's take the last 2x2 round brick, take a 1x2 plate with top mounted stub and a 1x2 fork, place it on the stub like so. Let's place this on the right let's place the other assembly on the left. These are the last two branches that we will be constructing. Now take 4 3x4 leaf elements. Let's place one on the top part of the branch and one on the bottom of the branch, like so. Let's take the remaining two and do the same thing. Let's set this assembly on top of the tree. Now let's set this level on top of the tree. There we have it. Now let's assemble the top of the pine tree. First, let's take a 1x1 top-mounted holder and a 1x2 plate with shaft. Stick the shaft in the holder. Set it perpendicular to the holder plate. Next, a stud right next to the holder plate. Now use a 5x6 leaf element. Place it inside the void like so. And to lock everything off, a 1x2 plate. Now take a 1x1 round brick, place it on the bottom of the holder plate like so. There we have the top of the tree. Let's make a second one, which has already been done in advance. Let's place these on top of the pine tree. Setting in the top is very easy. Let's place the underside of the element inward like so, and place it on this stud on the right. And let's take the other assembly and place it on the left. Make sure everything is securely, firmly fastened. And there we have the top of the pine tree. There is one more step that needs to be completed, and that is to fill in some of the holes in the tree. So let's take a few more 3x4 leaf elements. Let's start placing them in the holes. They don't have to be put in perfect. Rotate the tree around. If branches stick out too far, simply just turn them until they fit. Got a bit of a hole right there. Let's patch that up. I like to stick the leaf elements outward. A lot of patience does go into placing these elements on the tree. So let's take another element and place it right in this void. Let's fluff that area up. Yeah. Another hole right there. Let's patch that up real quick. Let's try the other branch. Or I can set it right off this element. Looks pretty good. Looks like this side is a bit bare. Let's attach one right in this area. You do get the idea on what is being filled in. This branch is sticking out a bit too far. I can't bend it any further, so just take that out of there and place it on the bottom. Don't force the leaf elements. A little bit of a hole right there. Let's place another element in this area. That looks pretty good. Everything's balanced. Maybe one more leaf element in this area will take care of it. Let's place this guy on the top. Oh yes, that is one nice pine tree, I must say. It looks rough. Something that would be grown in a forest. Here we have Jay the Surfer. As you can see, the tree is very tall. It's roughly about 4 minifigures high. So this is the pine tree. It is a intermediate to an advanced build. So a lot of patience is needed to construct this pine tree. But it does add a lot of character to a Lego forest, a Lego city, or even a Lego neighborhood. Thank you for watching.